What is the spiritual dream meaning of dog poop? Yeah, you dreamed it, and you're probably embarrassed. Don't be. Seriously, that dream, it might just save your life.
She was 7 years old. 7. When a man destroyed her. A man she trusted. A man her family trusted.
So when she finally spoke up, the man she accused was found dead. Can you imagine? This little girl came to a terrifying conclusion. Her voice was lethal. She believed her words had killed him, and so she went silent. For 5 years. 5. She did not speak. Not a single word, not one. I mean, just think about that. A child believing her own voice was a weapon, so she just locked it all down. She swallowed everything. Every scream, every ounce of grief, every single gift she had. And that buried material, that is the dog poop in your dream. That is exactly what we're talking about. But here is the incredible part. That little girl, Maya Angelou, crawled out of that crushing silence and became one of the most thunderous voices in human history. She took every piece of filth, every humiliation, every single one of those silenced years, and she transformed it into something that nourished millions. You see, she was the ultimate alchemist. She literally turned waste into gold. And your dream right now? It's your subconscious. It's screaming the exact same message at you, the one she lived. All right, this brings us to some life or death questions. And let me be clear, these are not cute, gentle inquiries. This is the work. So, I want you to ask yourself right now, what have you buried so deep that you've actually convinced yourself it doesn't even exist? What shame, what failure, what so-called disgusting truth are you carefully stepping around in your waking life, just praying no one notices? Come on, what is your psyche trying to force you to look at? What is the thing you absolutely refuse to see? Because let me tell you, what you refuse to face, it will find another way out. Okay, so from a psychological perspective, this isn't random. It's a crystal clear message. It's what we call the shadow's calling card. Now, this idea comes from the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung. Your shadow, it's basically everything you've ever rejected, suppressed, or been too ashamed to own about yourself. Jung said that integrating the shadow, well, that's the apprenticeship you have to serve to become a whole human being. And dreaming of dog poop, that is one of the shadow's most direct, in-your-face messages. Think about it. The dog represents your raw, loyal, instinctual self. So when it produces waste in your dream, that's your deepest nature trying to get rid of something it no longer needs to carry. And this just perfectly illustrates a universal truth from Joseph Campbell's work. Every single hero has to enter the cave, the dark, the stinking, the terrifying underworld before they can claim their treasure, right? Maya Angelou went into her cave of silence and came out with a voice like a thunderstorm. Your cave, it just happens to smell like dog poop. So here's the crucial point. It's all about how you see the stuff. You know, Freud, he kind of connected excrement to things like material wealth and control. But Jung saw something way, way deeper. He called it prima materia, the raw base material that alchemists knew they had to work with, the very stuff they had to purify to create gold. And that brings us to the active process. This is about turning that waste into gold. You are the alchemist here. This dream, this is your raw material. The alchemist path is incredibly direct, okay? 3 steps. First, acknowledge the waste. You have to confront that buried shame or failure head on. No more hiding. Second, integrate the shadow. You have to own those parts of yourself you've rejected. And finally, third, create the gold. That's when you transform all that raw material into your own personal power, into real wisdom. And listen, the stakes could not be higher. Ignore this dream and you just stay stuck. You'll keep circling the same failures, feeling that same hollowness. But if you pay attention to it, I mean really, brutally pay attention, you are standing at the threshold of the most important transformation of your entire life. Which leads us to the one final question, the only question that really matters, the one that this entire dream, this whole experience, is really asking you. Are you brave enough to look down? To finally stop stepping around the mess and see the gold that's hidden right there inside of it? The choice, as always, is yours.
Part 2. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Not all these dreams are the same. You miss one tiny detail and you miss the entire message. And we're not just talking about dreams here. This is a message from the deepest part of you, and your life is, quite literally, on the line. So the first stage, it's pure shock. It's that moment you accidentally touch something you've buried deep down. And guess what? The process has already started. Ready or not, you're in it now. All right, first variation, you step in it. Now, most people would freak out, right? But listen, this is the good one. This is it. This is the call to adventure you never asked for. You've just stumbled face first into the underworld of your own psyche. The transformation has officially started. So you have to ask yourself, right now, what in your life feels exactly like that? That awkward confrontation, that piece of bad news? That's the door. You gotta walk through it.
Okay, next up, you can't get it off your shoe. You are stuck. What this means is your psyche will not let you walk away clean from this. That unresolved piece of your past is literally clinging to you for a reason. So what is it? Come on, what is it? That resentment you're holding on to? That guilt you just can't shake? You have to name it. Say it out loud right now. That is the only way to even begin scraping it off.
Now let's shift gears, because sometimes the mess in the dream, it isn't even yours. This is where it gets brutal. The dream forces you to ask, whose mess am I carrying? This is all about projection and what you've inherited from others.
So, you have the dream where you're cleaning up after someone else's dog. This is a direct message. You are managing someone else's garbage, their emotional baggage, their financial chaos, their psychological waste. And let's be honest, deep down, you are furious about it. So here's your homework. Do a ruthless audit of your relationships. Whose mess are you constantly cleaning? Your partner's? Your parents'? You need to see it with total clarity. And then you have to ask yourself, is this a choice or is this a cage?
What if it's a strange dog, one you don't even know? Well, that dog, the one making the mess, that's a part of you that you haven't owned yet. It's a shadow figure. The application here couldn't be more direct. Think about who irritates you the most. I mean, really gets under your skin. Those traits that infuriate you in other people, yeah, those are almost always the exact traits you've denied in yourself. Okay, this next one is intense. You dream that someone gives you poop as a gift. And no, it's not a joke. They're literally handing you their shadow, their raw, unprocessed trauma, their chaos, their deepest wound. This is a terrifying level of intimacy. And the dream is screaming at you to look at what you've been accepting and calling love. You absolutely have to learn the difference between someone's damage and a real gift. And then there's the one that points straight to the generational wound. Your childhood home is just covered in it. Look, this mess isn't yours. It was left for you. We're talking about inherited family trauma. This isn't about blame, okay? It's about seeing with stark clarity what was handed down to you. Because only then can you make a choice. So identify one pattern from your family, just one, and you can decide right now to be the one who stops passing it forward. All right, let's turn the spotlight inward. These next few dreams are a direct map of your internal landscape. They're all about the sheer overwhelm you're feeling and that strange, powerful fascination you have with the very things that repel you. Okay, get this. You dream your own dog poops and you feel relieved, maybe even proud. This is a liberation dream. It means your instinctual self is finally getting rid of something toxic. This is a massive green light from your subconscious. You are right on the edge of letting go of something big. A job, a belief, an entire version of yourself. Your psyche is giving you a standing ovation, so make the damn decision. And then there's this one, number 5, you are surrounded by it. It is everywhere. Let me be clear, this isn't a warning. This is a 911 call from your psyche. You are in a state of total shadow saturation. All that unresolved stuff is literally drowning you. You need to stop everything, cancel your plans, learn to say no. You have to create space, immediately. And hey, if you've ever thought about therapy, the time is now. Not tomorrow, now. Maybe you dream you're trying to clean up the mess, but you're just making it worse, spreading it everywhere. This dream is a blunt instrument. It's telling you your attempts to control this, to fix it, to suppress it, they're backfiring, big time. It's bleeding into every single corner of your life. So ask yourself, where is your fixing actually making a bigger mess? And then just stop. Be still. Let the mess just sit there for a minute. This one's a paradox. You're completely disgusted, but you can't look away. You feel that tension, that pull between fascination and revulsion. That is the exact moment right before a massive breakthrough. Your ego is screaming no, but your soul is leaning in, completely captivated.
So you have to stop running from what makes you uncomfortable. The answer you are so desperately looking for is hiding in the one thing you're trying not to see.
And that brings us to the final stage, the most intense part of the journey. This is pure alchemy. We're talking about taking the most worthless, shameful, disgusting material of your life and turning it into solid gold. So what if you dream you find money in it or near it? This is one of the oldest dream symbols in the book. It's pure alchemy. The dream isn't being subtle here. It's showing you, flat out, that the stuff you think is your most shameful, worthless, dirty secret, that right there, that is your greatest wealth. So I'm asking you, what part of your story have you buried out of shame? What's the dirty part of your past you never talk about? That is your power. That is your gold, and you need to start telling that story. I don't care if it's just to yourself in a journal, just begin. Now, for the single most intense variation, you need to know a word. It's nigredo. In alchemy, it's the blackening stage. It's the total, excruciating integration of the shadow. It is the final agony you go through right before you strike gold. And it's the only way to understand the final dream, which is eating it. Yes, people dream this. You're being asked to fully ingest and integrate the most repellent part of yourself, of your entire experience, and survive it. That's the nigredo. I know it feels unbearable, but the most crucial thing to understand is that this isn't the end. This is the beginning. This is your rebirth, wearing its most terrifying disguise. So there you have it. The translations are on the table. The question now is simple, and it is for you and you alone. Now that you know the language, what is the one message bubbling up from your own depths that you can no longer afford to ignore? Part 3. Look, let's get right into it. Knowing all the symbolism, understanding the dream, all of that means absolutely nothing if you just walk away from this and go right back to doing what you were doing before. I mean, that's like dreaming about a fire alarm, hearing it screaming in your ear, and you just, what, roll over and go back to sleep? No! So let me be crystal clear. This is not a drill. This isn't some cute metaphor. Your psyche is sending you a direct message, and it is this: the house is on fire. Wake up. Okay, so there are different ways into this work, and that's on purpose. Your path isn't going to look like anyone else's. The whole point is to find your entry point and to use it now. So for those of you who process best with a pen and paper, we're going to start with the shadow journal. And the urgency here is immediate. I mean it. Start tonight. This is all about creating a container for the stuff you refuse to look at. So go get a separate notebook, something just for this. And you know what? Title it, The Stuff I Don't Want to Look At. The commitment? It's simple. But trust me, it's not easy. 10 minutes every single day for 21 days. And here are the rules. No editing, no censoring, no stopping. The prompt is always going to be the same. The thing I am most avoiding right now is... And listen, when it gets harder, when the stuff that comes up gets heavier, that's not a sign it's failing. That's the sign it is working. You cannot fix what you can't see. So stop refusing to look. Okay, so maybe writing isn't your language. What if your body is? The next way in is the physical purge. This is for you, the woman who feels things deep in her bones, way before her brain can even put a name to it. And this needs to happen this weekend. Because all that shadow stuff, all that suppressed emotion, the anger you were told was unladylike, the grief you were supposed to just get over, it lives in your body. This is not a metaphor, it's straight up physiology. It is literally stored in your tissue. So you've got two options here. Option 1, a super vigorous release. A workout where your only goal is to let it all go. We're not performing, we're not counting calories. Or option 2, a physical declutter. Pick one room, one closet, even your car, and just start throwing away everything that belongs to a version of you that doesn't exist anymore. That physical act of just getting rid of stuff, it activates the exact same psychological release as processing it in a dream. Your body gets to be part of the work. Okay, now let's talk about another place where we store a ton of shadow material: money. If your dream had anything to do with financial anxiety, then this next one, the money audit, is for you. Do not wait another week on this. I'm serious. If money is that one area of your life that feels the most shameful, the most avoided, then your psyche is screaming at you. It's telling you exactly where you need to dig. Shame about money is one of the most crippling forms of shadow that women carry, and it's absolutely keeping you small. So this week, you are going to open every single financial account you have. You're going to look at every single number, and you're going to write it all down. And listen, this isn't about punishment, not at all. It's about facing reality. Because you just can't alchemize what you refuse to face. And you know what's wild? The women who actually do this, they all say the same thing. The fear of looking was so much worse than what they actually found. Okay, now, for those of you who process externally, through connection and conversation, your way in is the avoided talk. And you know exactly which one I'm talking about, don't you? It popped into your head the second I said it. You've known for months, maybe even years. It's that one conversation that makes your stomach just drop. That avoidance, it's costing you way more than the conversation ever will. The time is this week. So here's how we make this survivable. First, you're gonna write out what you need to say. Then read it out loud to yourself. Get it in your body. Then you approach the person and you start with one clear, disarming sentence. There's something I've needed to say and I've been afraid to say it. And then you just say the thing. I promise you, the relief on the other side of that conversation is going to feel like a physical weight has been lifted from your shoulders, because it has. But what if the voice you've been avoiding isn't in a conversation with someone else? What if it's the one inside of you? That brings us to the creative act. This is for the woman who has buried her own creative voice. The urgency on this one is absolute. Today. That silence is killing something inside you. And I'm telling you right now, your voice deserves to exist. Whatever you've been creating in the dark, in silence, and calling stupid or self-indulgent, that's it. That is the work. You have been sitting on a pile of gold and calling it garbage. And the way you transform it, it's through something called alchemical fire. And this is the key, so listen up. It is the simple act of showing your creative shadow work to another human being that transmutes it from waste into gold. So your task this week is to make one thing. Just one. Write one page, paint one thing. And then comes the alchemy. Show it to one person, one trusted person. This isn't for their validation, okay? It's for your integration. All right, finally, let's talk about the shadows we don't even create ourselves, but the ones we inherit. This last tool, the generational cut, is for every woman out there who is just exhausted from being her family's emotional janitor. If you recognize yourself in that, carrying someone else's inherited mess, then this is for you. And the urgency? It's this. Your children, or the children in your life, they are watching you right now. Generational trauma doesn't just magically end. It ends because one woman deliberately, consciously chooses to become the circuit breaker. So here's how you start. Step 1. Identify one specific, nameable pattern from your family that you see yourself repeating. Write it down. Get specific. Step 2. Say this out loud and mean it. This pattern ends with me. And step 3, take one single concrete action that is the complete opposite of that pattern. Just one contrary action. That's all it takes to make the first crack in that inherited wall. So, let's bring this all home, shall we? Think about this. Maya Angelou spent 5 years in total silence. 5 years. Because she was convinced her voice was deadly. And then she found it. And she used that very same voice to make the entire world lean in and listen. Your dreams are not random. Your psyche is not broken. And that thing you've been avoiding, the thing you've labeled as waste or shame, that is the most honest thing your unconscious mind has handed you in years. It is a direct map. It's a flashing neon sign pointing to what needs your attention. It's showing you exactly where the work is. The gold is in there. Go get it.